1. Yo, what's good? What's good? A2HH live on a Wednesday. How are you doing today, Coop?
Good, man. Little any traffic in Atlanta.
Say that again. You're kind of going in and out.
Yeah, that's because the lights keep going in and out. It's raining and the traffic is bad and it's storming and the power's actually flickering on and off. They just cut the Braves off, but Bryce Harper just hit a 3-run home run. We're down 4-1.
I'm gonna share my screen real quick so you can see where you are in the cam real fast. You might want to come down just a little bit. Let's see. I know you got the Braves going. You see where you at? Shout out to everybody coming in the room. Shout out to everybody in the room. Can you see that, Coop? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Well, we got a lot to get to today. BET Awards was last night. BET Hip Hop Awards was last night. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of that. Shout out to everybody coming in the room. Thumbs up in the chat. You get a chance to see any of that? Did y'all see any of that? People out there in the chat.
No, I chose not to make myself suffer this year, so.
They did a lot for Hip Hop 50, but it was done in a weird way, in my opinion. It felt more of like a class, right? It's like when they had some of the pioneers come up, it's almost like they, you know how like have show and tell or whatever, and you have your parent come in and your parent tells what they do, and you know what I'm saying? And it was almost like the pioneers had to educate the audience on who they are and what they did for hip hop. You know what I mean? I see what they tried to do, but the execution of it was kind of weird.
Sad, but true. And also, too, let's not totally look at this in a bad way. Our elder statesmen in hip hop should be coming from a perspective of wanting to teach.
Of course. And I think also, though, and somebody brought up a great point on another blog that I follow. It was like, you know, after Hip Hop 50, are we going to go back to business where we're not paying homage to our the roots of hip hop? Or is this something that's going to continuously go on? Because the fact that this has to be done lets you know that it hasn't been done before. And that's the problem. We shouldn't have to educate the youth on what, you know, such and such did. That should be common knowledge if you step in this space. You know what I mean?
What should be often known is not often revealed.
Yeah, and I think that my thing is from a media perspective, and that's one of the things that According to Hip Hop's always been about. I think that's one of the reasons why people really gravitate to this show, because we kind of cover it all from a balanced standpoint, and we haven't seen that enough in hip-hop media, hip-hop award shows. We kind of cast off our legends as, you know, people of the past, which kind of brings up, you know, we'll get to the BET Hip Hop Awards. It kind of brings up this failed rapper conversation. Jason Sweet with the Super Chat says, y'all should have been nominated and won Best Hip Hop Podcast. Appreciate the love. Definitely, there's next year. There's definitely next year. Thumbs up in the chat. Speaking of which, man, because we do cover things that don't get covered on other platforms, I do want to see something about, or get your opinion and the people's opinion about what my son had to say. Coop, you there? Coop, you there? I think Coop might have went out for a second. Yes, let's get the likes and subs up. Coop, you there? Well, while Coop's getting back, I'm sure he's hearing what I'm saying too. My son took to Instagram and said, this whole failed rapper narrative is flawed. Who gets to determine someone else's success? Is every NBA player who never won a championship or been an all-star, or failed basketball player? Is every singer who never went platinum or won a Grammy a failed singer? Some of your favorite players and artists never received the recognition I believe they deserve. Some of my favorite, players and artists never received the recognition I believe they deserve. The fact is, Coop is gone. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me see what's going on with Coop. Let me get Coop back in here so we can get this conversation back going. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thumbs up in the chat. We got some crazy weather here in Atlanta today, so let's see. All right, there. I think that's him. Well, sure. We'll wait on Coop to tap back in. Let me get back to that post real fast from my son. But yeah, some of our favorite players and artists never received the recognition I believe they deserved. The fact is that some of us rapped to be lyrically better than everyone else. To have other lyricists that we respect us. And the love for the craft puts us in the industry among the best. Salute to every artist who received mainstream success, but not a lot of us failed rappers will rap you. Well, a lot of us failed rappers will rap you niggas under the ground, respectfully. That's what I said. Cool, down. Yeah, man. Like I said, the weather's crazy over here. What did y'all think about what's being said about this whole failed rapper narrative, and is that something that has pushed the hip hop landscape, down a bit? Let me see. Let me get let's see if we can try Coop one more time and get him in here. Thumbs up in the chat so we can keep this. Yeah. All right, that's Coop right there. Okay. Coop, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your camera's kind of like on some vertical stuff now. Let me show you real quick so you can, make the proper adjustments. So I said, why is Skype still around? Why does Ecamm still work off of Skype? All right, you see it? You good?
Yeah, what up?
Yeah, you good? All right, cool. We good. Let me get to, did you hear any of the stuff that I said that my son posted?
No.
All right, let me get to it real quick so we can, get the flow of the show going. All right, so my son posted on Instagram. For the people who just heard this, I'm going to say it one more time. He says, this whole failed rapper narrative is flawed. Who gets to determine someone else's success? Is every NBA player who never won a championship or been an all-star a failed basketball player? Is every singer who never went platinum or won a Grammy a failed singer? Some of my favorite players and artists never received the recognition I believe they deserved. The fact is, the fact is some of us rap to be lyrically better than everyone else. To have other lyricists that we respect us. And the love for the craft puts us in the industry among the best. Salute to every artist who received mainstream success, but a lot of us failed rappers will rap you niggas into the ground, respectfully. CJ Kid with the super chat. Shout out to CJ Kid coming in. He says, since I Am Double Dis is coming out this year, can it be considered for album of the year? No, we're not gonna do that. What do you think of what my son had to say about this whole failed rapper narrative?
I mean, told you, man, dudes are emotional. It's an emotional craft. And, I mean, it sounds like he took it personally, And I think success is often how you measure it. I've always liked my son, as a rapper. And for what he brings as like a speaker and potter, like to the game. But what was his place in his space in all this?
I guess as a hip hop,
Joe Budden doesn't need defending.
Right. I think everybody's kind of chiming in with their own opinions here, and I think that when you have rappers who have taken on a second career, and maybe their second, level of notoriety is bigger than what their music career is, they feel like they have fallen into this category. Let's just say like a Remy Ma, a My Son, a Gilly. You know what I mean? I think that this lane that Joe Budden has created, and this is what I will say about Joe, which makes him different in any of this aspect. Joe jumped into a space and kind of pioneered a space before that space was even created. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no space for quote unquote failed rappers to go do podcasts and be successful at it before Joe did it.
Well, that, when you're saying, like, what does that entail? You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Is like, sometimes a cheap shot is just a cheap shot, Mike.
Right.
And it's like, let's not make the cheap shot into some sort of like manifesto that Drake is disrespecting a whole class of rappers or a whole style of rappers. He dissed Joe Budden, Mike.
Right. It's just kind of like that East Coast, West Coast thing. Like, nah, this is not about a whole coast. This is about an individual.
No, but I mean, just like being straight up, it's got that feel to it. Like, okay, is this because Drake said it? Once again, because it's like, if somebody else, like, how about this? A lot of these rappers talk slick about each other in relationship to each other and call them failures all the time. Like, think about how Jay-Z's talking about people on the third verse to Thank You on the Blueprint 3.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's that. I mean, I was being funny when I was talking about the light on light crime, Mike. You know what I mean? I was just being tongue-in-cheek and trying to bring some levity to the situation. But this is kind of like what I was alluding to, where it's almost like, okay, so Drake calls Joe Budden a failed rapper, and now everybody that's in Joe Budden's weight class or style class or flow class should be offended. And it's like, well, no, he dissed Joe Budden.
Right.
And that's because Joe Budden dissed him, quite frankly.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's because Joe Budden critiqued his album, and I think he critiqued
in a manner that it was a diss, Mike.
Yeah, in the way that he presented it, and this is what Drake said too. He felt that some of the personal stuff was unnecessary. If you don't like the music, you don't like the music. But, getting personal about, who he's sleeping with and this and that came from somewhere else. And I get that. You know what I mean?
Did it not, though?
It did. I agree with that. But, again, it's all entertainment in that sense. But you're right. The failed rapper thing was directed at one person and not a whole scope of individuals. Like you said, where does my son even chime in at here? Anthony Davis. Go ahead.
And I don't look at Budden failed rapper either.
No. Anthony Davis with the super chat, $20 super chat, showing love. He says, hard for me to see Joe Budden as a failure in context because his rap career has put him in a position where he is now 1.3 million subscribers and a credible voice in the industry. Joe is worth about $6 million. That's not a failure. And you know what? Even when you look at Remy, doing 8 years inside, coming out, and still have a thriving career, I don't think anyone could say because, Remy didn't drop a classic album or anything like that she failed at anything. Like, your career is not a failure. Like, how do you even define that? And I get where my son's coming from. Who gets to define what a failed rapper is? But like you said, this was just an insult from one man to another. This wasn't about, let's do a whole dissertation and group certain people in with the failed rapper group. It's
rap, Mike.
Exactly.
People, they say petty, disrespectful things to each other that's not necessarily all the way true.
Look at the takeover.
Hyperbole. That's a one hot album every 10-year average. Hyperbole.
Right. Even the stuff that was said about Prodigy on the takeover. Like, we get it. It's diss records. And I think hip-hop's gotten to a point now where, or maybe society in general, where everybody can get offended by anything.
Yeah, it's just very, I mean, I don't like rappers coming to speak about Drake saying this because it got a whiff to it like, oh, y'all been waiting for a reason to ride him about something. You feel me?
Well, that's kind of what I got from last show, right? Where,
it's not operating from a place of strength.
I was thinking about that after our last broadcast. We did our broadcast on Monday, and people thought we were caping for Drake, this, that, and the third. This is my standpoint on it, right? or stance rather, he's not really doing anything different than what he's been doing. And I've even come on this show and I criticized Certified Lover Boy for the same reasons that everybody criticized this effort. Now, what I think is interesting and different about this record is the fact that when you Google Drake, for all the dogs, whatever the album's called, every single publication, from Business Insider to publications that don't even cover rap music or music period, they are trashing this album. Now yes. I know a smear campaign when I see it. And for the fact that these people that have this same thing to say about Certified Lover Boy and this recent album that he put out with all dance music, I just find it odd. And I think that when this Joe Budden criticism came in the place it came from, obviously the artist lashed out because there's not a lot of people who have anything good to say about this recent effort. And the criticisms are based on things that have been done the whole time. Because really, what's the difference between this album and the album with 21 from a content standpoint?
Mike, it's still the last 5 or 6 albums from a content standpoint.
Exactly. And my thing is, let's be consistent with the criticism. Let's not just dump on one album when we always talk about consistency and we always talk about artists giving the fans what they want. Drake's never been the artist that's going to go out there and take those artistic chances. He's a hit maker, and hit makers do predictable things.
Well, also, too, so this is what I mean. People sometimes hear what they want to hear. Mike, we didn't call the album good. We just said the rapping was good.
You gave it a 3 out of 5, I believe, right?
There wasn't enough rapping. 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I literally alluded the whole time that this really wasn't even that much of a rap album because he really don't make rap albums anymore. Like, he started off making, like, rap albums with sing-songy hooks, but been more sing-song hooks for the better part of a decade now.
No.
And so rating this as a hip-hop album is difficult, Mike. But as far as the rapping is concerned, the rapping was good. I didn't say the album was good. Matter of fact, Mike, I said the sequencing was bad.
Yeah.
I said it damn long.
It was too long.
I said it wasn't rapping enough.
Yep.
That didn't say a good review. But we caping for Drake. Cape D.
Anime Bros Podcast with the super chat says, LOL, the thank you subliminals are disrespectful and petty. You know Jay was just waiting for 50 to fail. What do you think about Dion's last matchup?
What do I think about
Dion's last matchup?
I'm lost.
I'm lost too. What do you think about I guess he's talking about Dion's team? Talking about Colorado?
Man, ain't nobody thinking about no damn Colorado. The Braves are losing to the Phillies 6-1.
Oh, I'm going to get to that. I almost was going to wear my Braves hat, man, but it was in my car, and I just went for the White Sox hat. I should have had the Braves hat on, right?
Elder was on the mound. He's the flake.
The Lob Mob with the super chat says, Jay-Z has made 90% of his money outside of rap, but people count that like it's rap money. That is a very interesting point. I never really thought about it in those terms. You're right, because most of the people who have made success out of music have done it in other ways outside of their artistry, outside of the touring, but we never look at them as people who, I guess, failed in music but made it somewhere else. I think it's more miraculous to not have an incredible music career and be able to do something outside of music. Because I look at Jay respectfully. It's kind of like a Magic Johnson, right? Where incredible artist, but that kind of helped him leverage a lot of the things that he was able to do. Now, for somebody like Joe Budden or even Gilly or whatever, their leverage isn't at the level of a Jay-Z's leverage. So for them to be able to make something out of their career outside of the music is an incredible feat.
Well, that's the thing. Remember, like on when Jay was like Rockaware 80 mil, like 18 months.
Yeah.
You bullshit with rap if you want.
Yeah. What's an
And
artist supposed to do? Because you remember we were talking about that. I guess you can't call it a Slaughterhouse album, but the Crooked Eye and Ortiz album, where they just wanted Button to come back so much to rap, and it's like,
why?
Exactly. If he's in a space, in a place where he's able to do his job and do something that he loves and be monetized for it and make a living out of it, why does he have to get back on the mic and prove anything to anybody?
Niggas is wild.
And then when he went independent and was doing his thing, people ignored it. But now that he's successful in something else, oh, we need you to rap again. Why?
I mean, so this is what I mean about it just being a cheap shot. Jay is the one that really made us feel collectively in this hip hop space. Well, the only failed rapper was a rapper who was just focused on rap.
It's true.
That was.
He kind of gave us that notion from the beginning.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a hustler. I'm not a rapper. I'm a hustler. It just so happens I know how to rap. Okay.
Yeah. And that, skinny nigga on the boat, I ain't let no rapper tell me whatever. You know what I mean? Like, being a rapper was a demotion. 007 with the super chat says, what's up with all of the World Series talk, Coop? Y'all gonna count the Braves out too soon.
I was about to say, the 5 games, 1-1. We had a suspect pitcher on the mound. The guy who's probably going to win the Cy Young will be taking the mound tomorrow or Friday.
Esquire with the super chat says, the lack of artistic progression is precisely the issue. It's been a slow year, and fans expected more of a monumental and less run-of-the-mill LP from Drake. Okay, I think that's a fair assessment, but again, is it this individual's fault that it's a slow year? And when's the last time this person has given you that level of dynamic to save a year?
Do you have evidence that we should have that expectation for this album?
Right. When's the last time Drake really saved a year in hip-hop? I mean, that's a real question.
Been a real long time.
Yeah, it's been a real long time for us to sit there and say, you know what? He really let it up this year.
Like, sometimes your stature can be your biggest detractor, especially at the age in this game. Like,
yeah.
And his stature has gotten to be so large that the only thing left to really do is tear him down.
Yeah.
The media does. It's what people do. It's that bullshit.
007 with the super chat says, y'all watch the Rap City doc episode tonight. Didn't see that. I saw that there was a Rap City special that was before the awards, but I heard that they were working on that documentary. I love Rap City, man. To me, Rap City was the space for me. That was like, you remember when they used to do the Rap City countdown once a week? It was on Saturday. It was a top 10.
Sure. Saturday from like 11 to 12:30.
People love Tigger with good reason. The Basement was dope. But my Rap City, for me, was with Big Les and Joe. And the mayor was slightly before me. So my era of where the best music I felt like came out was in that Joe and, Big Les era.
I like Tigger, but I love Big Les and Joe Clair. Yeah. I just like Tigger.
And I think that
the concept was better than Tigger, just if I'm just keeping it a buck.
I think the climate was much better than Tigger's era too. Like the music was just better.
And Mike, like, the Basement was cool, but there's no recreating going out into the streets.
No.
You can't replicate it. And Big Les and Joe Clair, they was out in the streets. It's like, no, the Biggie interview in the park, Mike.
Exactly. Tigger has nothing like that in his era.
Yeah, like that. The only thing he has like that is when Ghostface chumped him off in the basement.
But again, you know what? That was kind of an end of an era, and that was during Supreme Clientele. So it's like the music matters and the climate matters. when you're actually doing a show during a time where it's popping in hip hop, you're gonna have the advantage. DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says the funny part is you watched the whole episode and Joe said he liked the album. He even defended it when his co-host said it was trash. That happens to Joe a lot because I remember even with that Eminem thing back and forth that he had going on. It wasn't him that trashed the album. It was really Charlemagne. It was Charlemagne that was calling it this and that. And Joe was kind of being very, political about it. And he's the one that still got trashed. But again, I guess because he's Joe. Michael Williams with the super chat says, it's crazy how since K-Dot dropped Damn, Kendrick has dropped 5 projects to Drake has dropped 5 projects to Kendrick's 1, yet Drake has fallen further behind. Drake putting out all these underwhelming projects created a separation. I think that's an interesting notion because we're going to fault the person that's working and uplift the person that's not. That we do that a lot in hip hop too.
And it's neat to stop. It just does. Like you don't go to work every day.
I mean, this is my thing, man. Like, I don't expect Drake to take 5 years off to make an album. But if he did, based on what he brings to the table and what his expertise is, I would expect some crazy hit records, right? But for somebody...
He doesn't really make crazy hit records anymore, Mark.
He doesn't. All these expectations are kind of like... Listen, you know what? And I don't even want to just put it on Drake. Nobody really does at this point. The best hip hop right now is the hip hop that is non-mainstream. From a quality standpoint.
Album is non-mainstream. 8 a.m. in Charlotte.
Yeah. I think that's where we're at in hip hop right now. And I think that awards show that I watched yesterday really showed it. The performances were bad, Coop. And I'm not just saying that on some old head hating shit. I wish they were better. I wish the artists had more development. I wish that somebody got on the stage and electrified the stage. One of the weird things that I took away from it too, I don't know if the venue was small, the audience was small, but you know how they play certain camera tricks? They were showing the same people over and over in the audience. Like they kept showing Scarlett. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's because the energy was off in the building or if it was one of those situations where they tried to make the audience look more full than it actually was. Yes, LL was great. LL did a great job performing. His performance was so energetic. He did his thing. I feel like his performance from a breath control standpoint was better than guys who were half his age.
He's more classically trained than they are. So here's what we keep on finding out. I was even thinking about this in relationship to somebody like a Meek Mill. LL ass ain't up on Twitter or Snapchat or Instagram like that. You feel me? Well, he comes from a place where it's like, no, you worked on the craft, which is the hit singles, the album making, the stage performance. Those were your 3 focuses. It's like, well, now you got like 5 to 10 social media platforms that you have to get on regularly, Mike, like outside of the music. So it's like, of course.
How do we get back to, I don't want to say get back. How do we get to a point where artists take just the performance, the music, and the craft as the number one?
I mean, the people, the consumer dictate that. Like, even for all these people trashing this album, all these people trashing this Drake album, Mike, still about to go damn near gold in a week.
Well, see, this is the problem.
Nobody ever goes gold anymore.
You're right. But this is the problem, Coop. We don't really have a consumer of music anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a consumer of merch. We have a consumer of concerts, per se, but we don't have a consumer that is buying a certain album and you're like, you know what? That album goes because people actually went to the register and paid for it and got something. You know what I mean?
It's a homecoming contest now, Mike.
It really is.
Yeah, you voting for the homecoming king and queen. Drake's usually the king when he comes out.
Well, I think that's changing too. I mean, the numbers are going to say what the numbers are saying, but what people are saying is the opposite, you know? And I think that changes things. And he said he's going to kind of take a rest too, which is interesting
This
timing on that.
this product is not succinctly worse than any of the other projects. None of the projects have been that good, Mike. Like 8 a.m. in Charlotte is the best record that he's made in a long, long time.
Mm.
Like just as a solo artist, like him on a record by himself. Oh, he ain't made a record that dope in some years, Mike. Just straight up.
Michael
Like
Williams with the super chat says, you can fall further behind even if you put in the work. Look at M and J. Since J dropped 444, M has dropped 3 times, but has fallen further behind. I don't know if that's the best correlation because, you know, I think with M, we're kind of just now acknowledging something that's kind of been going on for a long time. But yeah, I mean, you think the Drake run is over? I mean, that's what it seems like at this point.
I've been saying it.
You have been saying that. Now I will give you that. The numbers just haven't reflected, and I guess the critiques haven't reflected either. But finally, those things are catching up.
Well, here's the thing. There's nothing like if the dopest part of your game starts to wane, but you're replacing it with his bars, like he's still going to be okay out here. It just needs to be focused more on him actually becoming a rapper is really all that I'm saying. Like the days of Drake being great for what he's been great for in that manner, yes, I believe those days are over. But that does not mean he cannot be great. Go look at first person shooter. Go look at 8 a.m. in Charlotte. It's like, no, he's capable of being great as a rapper right now.
Well, you know, this is the thing too. I mean, like you said, when you get older, you kind of got to change your game up a little bit. You know, Air Jordan's not Air Jordan in '97, but he changed his game where you back to the basket, and your game is fundamentally different when you get a certain age. That doesn't make you worse. You should be better.
Man, he shot one more fadeaway the ball, and he dunked the ball a lot.
Yeah. Critical Mass with the super chat says, so as long as I feed my audience and do numbers, it doesn't matter if my music is trash. Chasing clout doesn't show growth. Got it. No. Thanks, A2HH.
No, not saying it doesn't matter. Don't be facetious. It matters, but you do need to take a look at the landscape and the space that we're in and understand that the quality of an album matters as little in hip-hop as it ever has, Mike.
You're right.
And people got to get out of this frame of mind that they're in and learn to accept that as a fact because it's factually what's going on. The album and the album-making process does not matter as much anymore.
What's the last great mainstream album that we got?
Like where everybody was like, "Ooh, I gotta go get that."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because even when the mainstream kind of pumped, it's almost dry. It's not what we want. You know what I mean? Like we didn't revere it as high as, you know, we did Daytona or as high as many of the pundits did when it came out. Same thing with Michael. I don't know if Michael is a mainstream album per se, but it did get a lot of push and it is getting a lot of mainstream attention. So, but I don't know why people aren't, well, I know why in my opinion, but people aren't giving that resounding praise to it that the media outlets are giving to it. There's a disconnect here.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm trying to think. Mike, we're not going back to Get Rich or Die Trying, are we? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? Good Kid, Mad City?
Yeah, I'd say Good Kid, Mad City off the top of my head. After that, I'm gonna say maybe like an Astro World or something.
Everybody went up on no, not
Yeah,
every, but
because
like
some people like rodeo more. What do the people say in the chat? DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says it's because hip hop is global now. The fans of hip hop are no longer hip hop fans; they're just music fans. They don't care about rap. And you know what? We thought we were here 15 years ago, and we thought we saw a resurgence, and something happened where things went back down. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, "I try hard to not be an old head and bourgeoisie hip hop purist, but damn, fellas, what does it say when I can't stomach watching more than 10 minutes of an award show entirely dedicated to hip hop on BET? I felt that way too. And I feel like Coop and I are very open minded. And I didn't want to be the old head, like, oh, this shit sucks. But I literally felt like my parents.
no. See, this is where we have to stop and pause. This is about your mental health. I knew it was gonna suck.
But I wanted to give it a chance. You know, I didn't want to just sit there and assume, you know?
I don't, because it's like I've said this before. The difference between murder and manslaughter is intent. And it's just plain and simple to me at this point. Their intent is to kill hip hop more than it is to help.
You think so?
Mike, what's the last memorable moment BET Hip Hop Awards that you can remember? Where you were like, ooh, I'm so glad they did that. That was so innovative. That was so original.
Well, let me say this first of all. The ciphers...
Punk ass award show.
Well, no. This is what I will say. Let me say this, Coop. First of all, I've said on this show before, I think that the award show model, as we know it, is dated. It doesn't really translate in today's time anyway. And even before that happened, I always felt like BET having a BET Awards and a BET Hip Hop Awards was too much anyway, because the BET Awards is damn near 75% hip hop anyway. So it's not like they playing R&B and they'll give gospel one set. So I think it's redundant in that light. But even with that being said, the BET Hip Hop Awards always had that cipher to lean on where people would talk about it the next day.
Where's the last great cipher verse you heard where it's like, ooh?
The last great cipher that I remember?
No, just a verse. Just give me a verse where you were like...
Just a verse?
Oh wow. Where you're just like, oh wow, oh my God. It's like, yes.
I might have to go back to Kendrick and or go back to Black Thought and Mos Def.
I was thinking about the Redman verse was the last time they had a great cipher verse.
Okay.
I'm Nas and 9-4. I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, when he was going on that like little...
Right.
Yeah. That was the last one, Mike. That was like 2017, 2016.
And you know what? That's problematic in itself, where like it's one thing that, okay, people ain't putting out hit records, people ain't putting out quality records, or artists don't have that quality training to hit the stage and be great. But you can't find somebody that could give us some dope 16 bars? That's crazy.
They should have called my son and Joe Budden, Mike.
True. 36 Chambers of the Super Chat says, that disconnect with Killer Mike's album is here, though, too. Publications and fans are calling this Drake project trash and the worst album in years. We'll see again. If that's the case, and people feel that strongly about Killer Mike's album, why is that not getting the attention over this album that's quote-unquote trash? Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, I love hip-hop and I love black people. I'm supposed to be their core audience, right? True. We got to go through some of these nominees and, some of the winners from last night, since Coop didn't actually see the show. Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, reason I said in an interview that TDE artists cannot just release albums whenever they want. And if you look, all of their artists stopped dropping. Okay. Reason said, well, I guess that's what it is. TDE's not releasing albums, and maybe since Kendrick's out of the TDE situation, maybe he's gonna go ahead and release more albums. Did y'all like Lady London rhyming yesterday? Because Mad Max talks about Lady London very highly. They had a little cipher, but I thought Simba was probably the one that did the best in that cipher. There's people that can spit. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, with a cipher, y'all could bring out the Mickey Faxes of the world. Y'all can always bring out King Los. King Los is gonna give you some bars. But, you know.
See what I mean? Like, but are you spitting that shit to create a moment? Like, that's why I call Cole's verse of the year. No, he spit to create a moment. When he goes, um, they ask who's the greatest MC, K. Me, Aubrey, or me. But right now I'm feeling like Muhammad Ali.
Why is Ransom not getting at the BET Hip Hop Awards?
Because you have to connect. Like, to go to the
I
next
think Ransom connects. I think Ransom connects.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Like, you have to... A Cole, even a Kendrick, a Thought, a Nas, a Redman, lyrically are great at saying stuff that the audience can connect with. Like, everybody know who Muhammad Ali is. So when Cole's saying, oh, and right now I'm feeling like Muhammad Ali is a 3, it's like, ooh, but it connects. And it has some substance and some style points to it, Mike. These motherfuckers ain't stars.
What makes a star in today's era? Because obviously the quality of music and hit making is different. You know what I'm saying? You have people... Like I said, now, I mean, we have people making albums now, and you have people who are making, I mean, I guess songs for social media or TikTok or for, I would say the clubs. Like, it's nobody doing both. You know, like you said, with Get Rich or Die Trying. That was an album, but it had hits on it.
It's hard.
Because what do we expect from West Side's album that's dropping Friday?
Expect it to be great.
In what way, though? Do you think that we're going to get, like, some dope album songs? You think we're going to get some bangers that are going to, I guess, penetrate the mainstream to a certain extent? Or do you think we're just going to get some hardcore shit?
I mean, see, that's what I mean. Even for somebody like a West Side, it's like, oh, don't you think that it would have happened?
Exactly. And I think that's the pocket we're in right now, where it's like many of the hip hop fans are looking to albums like that as opposed to looking to albums like, like Drake's or even Cole's to a certain extent to be something that we ride to from end to end. I think that's why our audience rides so hard for Ransom, because he gives them that, and he gives them that consistently.
Bryce Harper just hit his second 7-1.
We're gonna get there, but I mean, I think that's what it is. Even if we talk about Shay Noir, like, why do you think that she's not in a BET cipher?
See, that's what I mean. So, Mike, we had this conversation last year, which is why I didn't watch this year. It's like, and I've been saying this for a couple of years, the people who are involved, it's not just the concept that is dated. It's the people working on it. Mm-hmm. Either one or two things are going on. It's people our age, and it's time to take them out back, and not in the actual sense, but in a proverbial sense, put them to rest, Mike. Up their way, give them a nice severance package. Tell them to go home. They've had their day. Go work for Essence or fucking
the Essence
Jetmax shit. Get the fuck out.
Get on a cruise ship.
Or we have a young crop of employees in that building that, quite frankly, Mike, are lazy as fuck and are out of touch and don't know what they're doing.
I don't think the young people co-sign that one. I just don't see it.
But Mike, you say that, but it's like, this is what I mean about them not doing their due diligence. Y'all should have been having ciphers with Griselda for like the last 6, 7, 8 years if you bugged and had ear to the ground.
Because if anything, bro, like, that right there is what's going to get the cipher to track. You know what I'm saying? And let's just say people had nothing but subpar things to say about the show. If you want the cipher to go viral or, do some streams on BET's network, or I'm sorry, BET's like YouTube channel or social medias, you get some people in there that can spit, because those things are the ones that are going to go viral.
Like, think about this, Mike. Why hadn't there been like a ladies first like type of cipher for Love and Armani and Che? Why haven't they called Benny Westside and Conway to do one of their Griselda-ish type of, like, they've been going on fucking radio shows for years doing this.
Exactly.
Why don't you have Stove and Rome and Boldy and like all those guys like in a, you know, like, it makes absolutely no sense, but it's like, well, it does make sense if you like just be honest with yourself and understand these people don't know. They're not really rooted in hip hop culture to be purveyors of it, let alone to put on an award show about it, which is why instead of putting myself through the suffering, took some time for me, reclaim my time, kept my mental health intact. I didn't watch that bullshit.
Coops boycotting. Leroy Green with the super chat says, the bottom line is there won't be any great music until artists start going against the grain. Second after last night, the male MCs should tell the female MCs that they're being used to sell dysfunction to the culture.
Leroy X out here.
Well, the female MCs could tell the male MCs similar things, I guess. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, I expect Westside Gunn's new album to be what it's going to be. Boom, boom, boom. Gun noise, crisp production, and solid bars. Griselda formula has gotten a bit stale. What say you about that, Coop? Because now it sounds like y'all talking about Westside like we talk about Drake.
Okay, what's the last time Westside did?
It was the 10.
Hitler Wears Hermes, right?
Well, he called it 10, but yes.
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it what his mama named.
Right. It's called Hitler Wears Hermes 10. It's gonna remain Hitler Wears Hermes. I don't give a damn how white people feel about us saying Hitler in America. Ain't our fucking problem. We black. Anyway, yeah, deal with your white shit on your white time. Black ass time. Hitler Wears Hermes 10. Mike, side A was pretty damn dope. Side B was pretty damn dope. We came on this show and said, had he put both of those projects together and garnered the best songs from it, that it would have been album of the year over KD2 and possibly for Magic. So last time checked, he hit at a pretty high clip. What's Benny's last project?
Hold on, was that the Magic year? I think that was KD3 year, actually.
No, I think it's KD2 year.
Was it? Huh.
Been happening fast with these KDs.
It has. Web Visibility with the super chat says.
Either way.
No.
No. KD2. I feel like it was KD2.
Web Visibility with the super chat says, as a 40-year-old, I would like to see better MCs in the cypher, but does the current target demographic for rap even care about bars? That's another question to ask for the young people. Where are our 25 and under crowd here in this room? Do y'all still care about bars? I want to ask Mad Max and under, because I think Mad Max might be 25. Our 25 and under crowd, do y'all care about bars? For real. It's hard to, I guess me coming from a certain era, it's hard to even fathom loving hip-hop music to a certain degree without caring about the lyrical level. You know what I mean? That's like, what drew me in, personally. It's the production, the lyrics, and the delivery. So without the bars, how do you really love hip-hop? And what version of hip-hop do you really love?
This is where I do think that we're different and enjoy a Future or a Gunna or a Thug.
Mm-hmm.
A way that I feel like that our contemporaries in our age bracket who were raised on the same lyrical aesthetics that we were, like, our generation had dealt well is what I'm saying. It's like, but I'll tell you what, it's like the other day I was in the car, it's like the song Ready to Die came on, and then I think Take It in Blood came on afterwards, and it just made me smile. The only part why it made me smile, because I know that's over. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know that that's not happening again. You feel me?
Yeah. We got a 19-year-old in here that says, Sonics over bars.
See?
Okay. Anybody under 25 still feel? Oh, how old are you, Mad Max? Mad Max said I ain't 25. Ill Magic with the super chat says Grammy proved once again that even at their worst, their show will always be better than BET when it comes to their performances.
That's a matter of resources and organizational structure as well.
I get that.
Organization.
All right, I'm gonna go to some of the winners, and then we'll jump on to something else.
There are no winners.
There are no winners.
No winners.
All right, let me get to it on this screen. And this is straight up from BET site.
Oh, I will say this: the dance team. I guess So So Def had a moment, correct?
Correct.
So the dance team that was on the stage with him, that was one of the groups that was at the Rap Snacks competition that I traded info with. I think this is the DY Kings.
Okay, dope.
Yeah, they actually were the ones that were behind you. So shout out to them. They were at the Rap Snacks competition. Remember I told you I was just playing the back and I ended up wrote the article about how I was chilling in the back and then ended up talking to one of these guys and then they went on stage. That was them. They were at the awards last night. So shout out to them, but everybody else can
thumbs up in the chat, man. And shout out to the winners,
I'm giving them no shout outs.
They
said,
all right,
man,
here it is, Coop.
No. Them ain't real awards, Mike. That's why I'm saying it's them shits is them little punk ass participation trophies they tried to hand out when my daughter was in gymnastics and she didn't place in one of them. She was like, yeah, they said I placed in fourth, Daddy. I was like, no, baby, you didn't place. You didn't. Give me the goddamn trophy.
All right, well, here it is, Coop. Hip Hop Awards 2023. Here's the winners. And Kendrick Lamar came out on top with 4 wins. Let's see.
With what album, Mike?
The one. All right. Best hip hop video. Best hip hop video went to Just Wanna Rock, Lil Uzi Vert. Best collaboration went to All My Life, Lil Durk featuring J. Cole. Best group or duo, Drake and 21 Savage.
I can see that.
Lyricist of the Year, Kendrick Lamar.
With what?
Okay, let's see who was up for Lyricist of the Year.
Okay,
Lyricist of the Year, 21 Savage, Andre 3000, Burna Boy, Cardi B, Conway the Machine, Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar.
Mike, if you need any evidence about how all over the place this award show is, look no further than the Lyricist of the Year category. It lets you know.
Burna Boy? Huh. Okay.
Mike, 21.
Can you do something for me? All right.
In the Lyricist category, he's a star.
Yeah, I like 21, but yeah, not in the Lyricist category.
I don't know
Video Director of the Year, Dave Free and Kendrick Lamar. So, yeah, Kendrick Lamar won one for Video Director of the Year.
Niggas still make videos?
Right.
Okay.
Song of the Year, Lil Uzi Vert, I Just Wanna Rock. Hip Hop Album of the Year, Her Loss, Drake and 21 Savage. That's interesting. Hip Hop Artist of the Year, Kendrick Lamar. Let's see. Producer of the Year, Metro Boomin. Breakthrough Artist, Best Breakthrough Artist, Ice Spice. I think that's a good one. DJ of the Year, whoa, Metro Boomin. I didn't even know Metro was a DJ.
Never seen him on the Wheels of Steel before, Mike.
You know I love Metro, but what?
Let's ask some questions. Has he ever been on the Wheels of
Wait
Steel?
Wait a minute. Metro got DJ of the Year?
I told you, Mike, I want to thank all the...
That's crazy. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. We're going to move on. This is crazy.
I thank all the artists who were nominated, invited, and especially who got those participation trophies last night. So participation trophies, they're not real awards.
Mad Max in the Super Chat says, I'm 27, but I care about bars. Just moving the battle rap. They have lyrics. They have Lyrical Chess, dropped Prodigal Son, dope album. They the ones pushing the pen. But see, that's the thing. I think in hip hop now, whereas we used to get everything in one setting, you got to go over here for albums. You got to go over here for bars. You got to go over here for hits. Who's gonna put this whole thing together? And is it even necessary to put this whole thing together anymore? I'm just asking questions.
It's ridiculous.
You know, I know y'all think I'm crazy, but I think Offset's album this Friday, he could possibly put a lot of things together. I know he's not viewed as a lyricist, but
No,
everything that I'm hearing that from this project is banging.
It's not that people think you're crazy, Mike. They think I'm crazy. It's just that you say crazy things like that.
Everything I've heard from this Offset project so far, it's hard. I've heard 3 things though. But again, I'm a 3-6 fan, and it's taken on some of those themes sonically. And
Polish.
The song with Travis Scott, that shit's hard. And you know, this is my thing, man. I heard that song months ago. I think they were overseas and they performed it. And this is before Travis dropped his album Utopia. I just knew this song was on Travis's album. Because, you know, I always talk about how shit sounds different on Travis's album. This is on his album. And so if this is the type of tone that they're taking, I don't know, man. This album might be something.
First of all, we'll see. Mm-hmm. Reserved, always like a nice sleep pick. Mike, also too, I've never seen a Travis album come and go this fast either, though.
Ever. The superstars are fading. It's the truth.
It's the cycle, Mike.
Yeah. And I think the next superstar has to come through with that seminal effort. I don't know if that next superstar is Offset, but I will say this. He has a lot going for him. Cardi B's his wife. He's coming out of a group that, you know, had an unfortunate, terrible situation, and the group's officially done. And that group is a notable group. He's a notable member from that group. He can get any collaboration he wants and needs, and I could tell he wants it. So he has a lot of things going in his favor. Now, I think the one thing that we're going to have to see is, even if he gives his best, are people going to gravitate to it? That's the big question.
Okay, so this is what I mean. Do you think in the world that we live in, this hip-hop space that we're in right now, that somebody like an Offset is legitimately about to make something better than Killer Mike's best piece of work, or the best 50-year-old rap album, or the best rap album we've ever heard a 50-year-old make?
Well, okay.
Really
I think from a lyrical standpoint, yes, that's very hard pressed to say that Offset's going to make a better album than Magic 3. But
I brought up his lyrical capability. No, he's not capable.
No. I'm just saying, from an album making standpoint, yeah, Magic 3 I feel like is the mark. I think there's a connectivity issue with Killer Mike's album that I think Offset could probably supersede. But I don't think that could be superseded by what Nas and Hit Boy have been able to continuously create and continuously master on their model, you know?
Here's what I'm at. Okay, Mike, 80s. Nobody confused George Michael for Prince Michael Jackson, right?
Right.
But for a year, Mike, he made Faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that album was massive. And for a year, he did compete.
Yeah.
He actually won Album of the Year at the Grammys.
Yeah.
In the middle of both of their primes. Are you saying Offset's capable of something like that? Because I say no.
You know what I'll give Offset? I'll give Offset the Bobby Brown. Because Bobby Brown had a moment, and that was a big-ass moment. You know what I mean?
Bobby Brown's a trendsetter.
He is.
Offset is not a trendsetter.
You don't think so? You don't think the Migos as a whole were trendsetters?
Mike, if you didn't have the Bobby Brown, and if you couldn't do dance moves to every little step, You wasn't getting no girls out here, Mike.
Okay.
That's different.
You don't think Offset could pull off a Bobby Brown coming out a New Edition?
Mike, Roni was the high school love song.
Great album. Babyface did his thing on that album.
Yeah, like, no, he don't got Roni, every little step I take video. Hell fuck no, Mike. Like, not even fucking, no.
Okay. Jermaine Johnson.
Mike, this morning, you know where I had to go? It was flooded in the morning on the freeway like they usually are. Mike, I had to go down Bobby Brown.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Young Miami won for Best Hip Hop Platform, and A2HH wasn't even nominated? I guess y'all have to date Diddy to throw this award show away.
And you want to know crazy? I think two people who are friends of mine on Facebook. I know they know that we exist.
Man. James Smith with the super chat says, what do y'all think about Westside's rapping ability? I don't think that he's below average, but he does have a lot of charisma. You always describe Westside's rapping ability to a T, Coop. Do you want to take that one on?
I mean, he's an above average rapper. He just out-rapped Ghostface on the record they did together on the Muggs Project, Mike.
Yeah, I pulled my man Ghostface in it.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, oh no, that guy, is he as good as Yasin and Talib on Peppers? Like, no, he's not that.
In the Wu-Tang, who is he? If Westside was in the Wu-Tang, who is he?
Mike, you'll love this. He be Kappa.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
He be Kappa in the Wu. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
He would be Kappa.
I'm cool with that. I think that's perfect, actually.
Not be cool with that. Have you heard Ice Water?
No, Kappa's that guy.
Slang editorial?
OG Winston with the super chat says, the next hip-hop superstar is going to come with something different. The new stars today are so manufactured, I blame the music industry for this decline. You know what? I blame the music industry, but looking into it a little bit further, I kind of blame the consumer. And I'm not talking to the people in this room, but I think what happens is in any industry, you pattern what you're about to create and what's working based on what people are buying. I don't think the industry can really gauge what people are buying. Streaming and buying are two different things. We could stream something that we don't like. You can't buy something you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are probably streaming this Drake album because they're hearing all this negative criticism about it. All the people that are saying all this stuff about it, they're streaming, they're adding to the numbers. But when it comes to actually physically purchasing something, you can't fake that. And I think that the industry has suffered from the fact that they don't really know who is purchasing what and why. You know what I mean?
No, you just support.
Yeah.
Like, how about this, Mike? I mean, we need watch time and watch hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like people in my inner circle that don't even like hip hop, like my mother, like pull up our show and just put it on mute and play it to support us.
And you can have people who are just watching us just to be haters and want to pick it apart, but they're still adding to the support, right? That's not the same thing as like if somebody put out an album, you're like, man, I don't fuck with such and such. You don't even go buy that shit. But now, with streaming being the gauging point, you have people who are supporting who might not even really be supporters. You know what I mean? And it confuses the numbers.
We got haters? I hadn't noticed.
We could. I don't know. I was just making, I was making an assumption. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Did you see Mike's Fallon performance? Incredible. Oh, Killer Mike's Jimmy Fallon performance.
Oh yeah, the one where the song that he dedicated to his mother.
Yeah, incredible. And again, I don't want to, like downplay the Killer Mike album, and maybe I need to go back and play it again, and maybe this is just the way that we're wired now to kind of pick up an album for a certain time period and not pick it back up. But from a structural standpoint and a technical standpoint, it hits all those marks. and it would be album of the year, but I don't know if I feel like the connectivity can comfortably make it album of the year, if that makes any sense. I mean, can you sit down and say, you know what, we're gonna stamp this as album of the year and be good with that 2-3 years from now?
No.
Because I can sit there and say, yo, KD3 was the album of the year in that, year 2022, and I could be good with that.
It's not a difficult.
2020, I could say Pray for Paris was album of the year. I'm good with that.
Even if you told me Alfredo, I'd be good with that too.
Yeah. 2018, in my opinion, Daytona. I'm good with that. Coop, you there? You went away for a second. Beyond Above Media with the super chat says, just showing support. Y'all are doing it right. The chemistry between you both works. Appreciate that.
Yeah, together. The Atlanta Braves, Mike. It's going into the 7th inning.
What's the score?
Ridiculous.
What's the score?
7-1.
Anthony with the super chat says, remember when Big won Lyricist of the Year in 95 over Nas, and Big said that he thought Nas was going to win? Even then, it was somewhat a popularity contest. Award shows are always going to be a popularity contest because at the end of the day, it's about, viewership, and they want to make sure that the people want to see are going to win certain things. But you got to balance it out now, because now you don't really know what the people really want to see, because the superstars aren't really superstars anymore. And I think we're seeing that right now, right live and in living color. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, sorry, I usually agree with y'all, but Westside Gunn is an average rapper at best to me. Weaker bars, decent flow, little metaphors, wordplay, entendre, and gun noises are half the song. Weakest Griselda member. What we gonna see? I mean, is there a song that you can honestly say, Coop, that Westside probably had the best verse on if it was a song that was in collaborative effort?
I just gave record.
Which one? The one with Ghost?
Yeah, the one like the last record we just heard him on. Yes, like
Okay.
the last record we heard him on. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what happens. He next to Conway and Benny so much, like his brother and his cousin. Like, he raps next to them so much that you forget that this dude is actually dope, and he's actually the one that got it cracking, Mike.
He is.
He's the one that got it cracking.
And kept it
Mike,
cracking.
If he's not good, how he get it cracking? Mike, why if you go listen to the 10 best albums that come out, Griselda, he got like 3 or 4 of them.
DJ Bruce Almighty says Westside Gunn makes the best albums in Griselda. It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
But Mike, like, do I think he has a better verse than Stove on Vogue cover? No. Do I need him to? No. Like, that's what I'm saying. How about this? Him and Conway on Spoons, he's right there with Conway. It's Conway, Mike.
Yeah.
Literally going back and forth with Conway. Average rappers can't go back and forth with Conway, Mike. You understand what I'm saying? Average rappers don't go back and forth with Conway the Machine. Brother or no brother. Brother or no brother, Mike. You understand what I'm saying? That's not normal rapper stuff.
He's elite. He's definitely elite. So are we expecting possible album of the year Friday?
Yes. I expect this to be album of the year contender.
Okay. Album of the year contender.
Give the 50-year-old guy some run, for God's sake.
Somebody has to. Because at this point, I'm feeling like, man, it's looking like we're just giving Nas album of the year just every single year at this point.
Ain't nobody got nothing for him. Nothing for him and hit at the end of the day. And the shit, Mike, like, it's great for them, but it kind of like borderline sad. That's why I keep on kind of bringing it up. It's like, oh, you know what this old nigga did? Like, he older than all of us, Mike.
I mean, it kind of makes the game boring, man. Like, I just don't, the part I don't understand, Coop, is right now the game is wide open.
I'm disturbed. It makes me want to rap again at 42. He's 50 and he's out here busting everybody's ass. I'm like, you want to know what? Maybe I should just like sharpen up my skills again.
I think so. We might need to put out an album or something because this is a wide open time.
I came up with this ill little 4-bar stanza when I was like literally just like messing around cooking dinner today. Like I came up with these 4 bars. I was like, I should keep those bars.
Well, that's how it comes. Black
Like
Wealth and Power with the super chat says, go ahead.
According to hip hop, Mike, it was one of those bars. It's like, yeah, we're getting censored for that. I was like, ooh, yeah.
Black Wealth and Power with the super chat says, hip hop decline isn't just being noticed by the older crowd. I'm in my 20s, and it's a far cry for what it was in the 2000s during my childhood and 2010s during my teenage years. I mean, yeah, I felt like we got a resurgence in the 2010s when you had Schoolboy Q doing what he was doing. Big Sean was coming out, you know, he had his own flavor. Sci-Hi was doing what he was doing. Kendrick, you had Ab Soul. You had people coming from everywhere. ASAP and what the ASAP mob was doing up top. It was a beautiful thing to see this new organic generation. Big Crit, he's another one of them too. And it's like, where are the people at? I don't even want to just talk about the 90s or anything like that. Like, even that surge that we saw of new acts in the 2010s, with Currency going on his run, Wiz Khalifa doing what he's doing. Like, where the fucking Wiz Khalifa's at least?
It's a dry county out here, Mike.
It really is, man. And I'm trying to pinpoint when and where this shit happened, but you know, we got to just give light to the people who are putting in work. But I will say this.
The pandemic is when it happened, Mike. 2020 is when it happened.
It really is. You know what? It was starting in 2019, to be honest. 2019 was a weak year.
It was, but this is what I'm saying is like the pandemic killed a lot of careers because it helped kill some of it helped kill off what was left of like an old standing guard of the music business that we thought was a new model. It kind of killed it. Pandemic killed it.
DJ Bruce Almighty with the super chat says, Benny or Conway don't have a Pray for Paris. They don't. That's just the truth. Not a lot of people do, and we got to give Westside credit for that, at least. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Westside Gunn doesn't go back and forth with anyone on his tracks. He stands out on Griselda cuts because his verses are jarring and off in comparison. He's good sometimes, sure, but a broke clock is right once a day.
I hate when people don't know what they're talking about. See Allah Sent Me on Pray for Paris. See Spoons on side A from Hitler Wears Hermes.
I think that he has a style. I think he has a style that is that's not palatable to a lot of people. But the people who are going to listen to him are going to listen to him. I like his style personally.
Me too. 4 stores I got on V, bro.
Listen. They said that the Braves are trying to rally. Is that legit?
A punk ass run ain't a rally.
No rallies going on. Okay. All right.
Whoop the fucking whoop. Man.
So with that being said, though, bro, it's like where does it go from here? Like, what does the next superstar in today's climate even look like? Or are we gonna get even another like Wiz Khalifa? Wiz Khalifa's a very successful artist.
How about this? Even Mike, for some of the grief we've given Jack Harlow. Oh, Jack Harlow thrives in a pre-pandemic climate in a way that he's not now. So I don't know. We're all kind of like all waiting on fringe for what the music business, what fuckery the music business is going to come up with next, so we can actually get a set of stars. Like they have to get the fuckery in order, Mike.
I feel like the last set of stars that we got, you know, from a mainstream perspective, in my personal opinion, I think were Megan and DaBaby. Is that accurate? I mean, I think that from a traditional standpoint, the last superstars we got were DaBaby and Megan.
Mike, I'm not joking when I say this. The music business has to find out how to rape the new generation of artists before we're going to see those stars. They haven't figured out how to rape them yet.
I'm pretty sure they figured that part out. I think what they try to figure out is how they can build their own without having to latch on to somebody who's already moving. Because now somebody already moving doesn't really need them. Because if you're already moving on social media and this and that, like, I mean, even somebody like NBA YoungBoy didn't even need their momentum like that. And they're trying to figure out how they can create their own NBA YoungBoy, and it's difficult.
That's why I was telling you, Mike, a couple years ago when like people was telling me it's like, nah, Coop, like Sauce Walker down in Houston, like with two
Yeah.
Bentley, no record deal. I'm like, never sign a deal, ever.
OJ Winston with the super chat says facts. The game was still in a lyrical and diverse place in the early 2010s. That's why I don't get why other regions blame the South for the downfall. I think that's a legitimate point too, because even with the South doing what it was able to do or what we were able to do in the 2000s and late 2000s, right before 2010s, the game thrived. It did. Wiz is from Pittsburgh. ASAP Mob is from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? The TDE guys is out in Compton, Cali, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you had Detroit thriving. You had Chicago thriving. You had Texas thriving. And so everybody was able to kind of spread it out. And of course, Atlanta had, Thug and all that in the 2010s, Future as well. You even had Canada going on with Drake. I think that the 2010s could arguably be the most diverse mainstream climate we've ever seen in hip hop. J. Cole out of Carolina.
Well, Mike, that's because what happened in the 90s. And it's like this. Mike, you're from here.
Yep.
Do you remember when 285 was just 3 lanes on each side?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So the growth of Atlanta caused the highway to expand. The growth of hip hop caused the highway to expand. So now, Drake got a whole damn country, Mike.
Yeah.
Rapper who got a whole damn country following him.
Yep.
Mike, we have a rapper from my home state of North Carolina, and I can say with confidence, it's like, no, that guy's the best guy in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you can say that about no rapper from North Carolina, no 1995, no 2000.
True.
No 2005. No, it wasn't even plausible to think that even somebody like Jermaine Cole was going to pop up and even be, as he quotes, big 3 for his era. So that's what, listen to what I'm saying, that's what all that quality-ass material in the 90s did for the game.
I agree with what someone said in the chat. I think the 2010s is better than the 2000s, in my opinion. I think from end to end, yes.
No. From end to end, yes. But as far as the classic albums, no.
Right. I think the 2010s slowed down in 2019. 17 wasn't a big year, but it had some things.
Like you have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Good Kid, Mad City, and after that you don't have anything where it's like this consensus. It's like, nah, we all agree Supreme Clientele is epic. We all agree Get Rich or Die Trying is epic. That B is epic. That the Carter 2 or 3, depending on how people feel. It's like it was more epic albums still in that 2000 to 2010 span.
To me, it's the depth though. Like I think that it's kind of like when you compare 88 to 94 or compare 95 to 94 or 93. It's like, yeah, you don't have an Illmatic, but 95 might not be the best comparison, but it's more so about the depth that you have, and that dry period in the 2000s to me, like that 06, 07, you had a few moments there, but things cooled off quick in the 2000s. 2000 was a good year. It was a transformative year. 2001, yeah, that's a great year. 2002, 2003, Get Rich or Die Trying, the Black Album, okay. 2004, you got College Dropout, kind of took over that year. You also have MF Doom and, Mad Villainy, stuff like that. 05, I think, is probably the heaviest year if we want to talk about depth. 05 looks like 95, 96 as far as depth. But after that, things kind of cooled off for the 2000s.
That's still a better stretch run than any of 2010 runs.
I'm gonna keep it real with you, man, and you'll probably appreciate this.
Like, how about this?
The 2000s was just too happy for me. Like, as far as the singles go, that was that happy hip hop, and it's kind of going back to what we were talking about with The Basement. I liked Rap City, before The Basement because of the climate.
A lot of happy ass niggas.
It was a lot of happy music, and you had Fat Joe making "What's Love" with Ashanti and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm used to the Don Cartagena Fat Joe, man. You know what I mean? And so, what I do like about the 2010s is it wasn't all that happy shit going on.
I hear you. I do hear you, and you're right to a degree. But this is what I'm saying, Mike. Like, think about this. This is like, oh no, 2001 is like Stillmatic in the Blueprint. It's
Right.
like Godson, Lost Tapes, B, Get Rich or Die Trying. So no, them albums is better than all those albums not named Good Kid, Mad City, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. How about this, Mike? Something like The Carter 2, which probably isn't even a top 10 album for its era, would be top 5 in the next era.
Web visibility. I want to see what the people got to say about this, because
The Carter is better than almost all these albums that got made from 2010 to 2019. Like almost better than all of them. There's only, like, how about this? The Carter 2 is better than Astro World.
So you got the 2000s over the 2010s.
If we're talking about the albums, yes, because the albums are still there.
It's something about 2010s that just felt better.
The classic songs are there too, Mike. I don't know about that. Actually, hell, damn that 2010 to 2019 shit. That's just off. No, the Carter 2 is better than Astro World. It's comparable to Victory Lap. But that's like, yeah.
Web visibility with the super chat says, maybe there won't be a new generation of stars. I grew up in the 90s and I never thought rock and roll and R&B would die, but they did. Maybe it's now rap music's time to die. It's hard to think hip hop would die. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, even if it's not mainstream, do we even have a modern day Slaughterhouse group to lean into? I'm just a bar heavy fiend, desperate for a fix. Ill Magic with the super chat says, 2010s have better hip hop albums from 2010 to 2017, and 2000s have better radio hip hop singles from 2003 to 2008.
It's 8-2.
Huh.
It's 8-2. Yeah.
8-2, you think? All right. Dot with the super chat says, Drake, Kendrick, Big Sean, and Cole all need their flowers for what they did in the 2010 era. A lot of people put in some great work in the 2010 era.
And that's correct, but then the album's not great. So, okay.
Okay, you know who else is in the 2010 era too? Migos.
I'm cutting off the TV. I can't take it anymore.
Cooper's caught up in the game. Brandon Charles of the super chat says, you guys have such a strong fan base. You guys could solicit quality young artists and break them on your streams. Imagine albums greater than 70% of the game, but the budgets are lower. Imagine your ear finding gems. I would love to.
I mean, Mike knows this. I actually have a lot of local artists that are pending right now to come into our studio and record and get some stuff done. So, like, I'm trying to be the person in the company that breaks, at least down here. Like, I don't know, like, for me, this year has been, like, about Atlanta. And it's like, no, I want to help put more artists in Atlanta on, who deserve it. Like I do.
You know what? This is the barrier, and I want to say this to the audience. The barrier is the fact that, first of all, new artists don't really get an opportunity to showcase their music online because of all kind of blockage that you get from the streaming platforms and from, the platforms where people are at, like the YouTubes or whatnot. We can't just go on willy-nilly, just start playing music because, of possible violations and things like that. That's one roadblock. Other roadblock is the fact that when a new artist sits there and talks to us, are y'all really going to listen? I think what I've noticed that catch people's attention the most is if we sat with somebody and they just start spitting. That's going to get people.
I will say this, Mike. I don't love that. How about this? Like our Nick Love interview. Oh no, that should have like 25 to 50,000 views because the interview was like that and people need it. And so there is some consumer blame to be had about what we invest into. It's like if, like, sometimes the energy just needs to match in order to change things. It's like that same energy that y'all have and that I have about the I Am double album that never got released. It's like, no. Give Nick Love some of that energy in terms of viewing our product so that it makes sense for us to keep on doing interviews like that. Right. Because I learned a lot from talking to Nick.
Yeah, same here. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Mike, the blogs brought in Currency, Wiz, Sean, Wale, Blue, Crit, B.O.B., K-Dot, Joey, Tyler, ASAP, Mac Miller, Cuddy, Gibbs. Pods are the new blogs. Okay. I agree. And, I come from the blog era. That's really where, according to hip-hop, started. So, yeah, I get that.
Mike, they saying we not doing our job, too.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What artists do we need to be checking for? Do we need to be sitting down talking to and chopping up with? And we expect y'all to tune in when we're doing that, too.
And real talk, like, I expect Atlanta, like our Atlanta following, to tune in and support when we're bringing some of these local artists on. Like, real talk.
Because we got to find, you know what? I think we do have the ability to find the next superstar. What say you?
I'm in these streets looking, Mike.
Have you seen anybody that you think can be that?
I got some people on deck, Mike, that deserve a shot. That's the thing. You never know.
You never know, yeah.
No. So they flash. Like, have you seen the James Worthy story that's floating around about Mike? When Mike pulled up on him, like, as a freshman, like, at 18 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no. Like he said, he's like, I was better than him for about 3 weeks. It's like week number 4, he flashed, and you were like, oh, shit, I'm in trouble. You have to give people the opportunity to flash.
Have you seen that documentary on Bobbito and Stretch and the show that they used to do?
No.
And, so basically, for the people out there, and I guess I should tell the whole story for the people out there, it's a dope documentary. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or whatever. But anyway, they had an independent radio show that was at Columbia University up there in New York. And so they were playing hip-hop records when, New York radio wasn't really playing hip-hop records like that. And they were playing, like, the street shit, And so Wu-Tang, they're making their debut there. Like, they're going on a college campus, you know what I'm saying, to get on Stretch and Bobbito's show. They were getting everybody first. They got Nas first. They got the whole Big L, Jay-Z freestyle because that's where hip-hop was. It was on the underground. I think we've gotten back to that point where you're not going to get your answers from the mainstream. You're going to get your answers from people like us. And so, if we have the opportunity to find the next Wu-Tang, or if the next Wu-Tang is out there, they're going to come through here.
Mike, but there are people in this city that just haven't gotten their fair opportunity. Like, I got a homegirl, Mia. We're going to bring Mia on. So, look, Mike, on my birthday, I get a phone call. Like, as my birthday's coming in, it's me and a whole crew of people that I know. And they're wishing me a happy birthday.
Right.
But talking about how Mia just got done shutting down this bar on Edgewood. Like, the club was whack. And so she just grabbed the microphone and started singing and freestyling and getting busy and, like, literally shut the building down. It's like, no, she's been up and down this circuit in this city for years. She's the one that plugged me into Mika Means, Mike. Like, Mia's the one that plugged me to Mika. Like, I literally pulled up for Mia's birthday and Mika Means was there. Mika Means used to work with Puff, Mike. You know what I'm saying? The talent literally is right down here around the corner. Mia's dude is a dope-ass MC. Right around the corner. These people need opportunities to be seen on a major scene.
You're right. And you know what? I want to double down on that too. And hear me out. I don't know how you feel about this. I kind of alluded to this, in some of our other shows. But you and I having a radio show would be crazy. Now, I'm not saying terrestrial radio, like getting on V103 or whatever. I'm talking about the whatever radio formats that people are listening to. You know what I'm saying?
Radio's not ready for me.
No, radio's not radio. But what I do listen to, and this ain't even no plug or anything. It's just the truth. I listen to, I have Apple Music because I do listen to the radio shows that are on there. I'll listen to Estelle's block because she has like a radio block where she does her thing. She interviewed, Brian Michael Cox, went through his catalog and things like that. I'll listen to Ebro's block. If we had some sort of block where not only are we already able to interview artists on our platform, but we're able to carry that over and play the music, because the music is what's going to sell people the most. You know what I'm saying? And I think if a dual,
But people sell people too, Mike.
people sell people too. I agree.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. This is like, no, my homie Mia, like, no, she pulled up into a whole after-hour spot and shut that bitch down. That's star type stuff.
Right.
That's stuff that you hear stars doing in their town, in their neighborhood, before they ever make it big. It's stuff like that. That's how you identify it. Like, because all of them was on the phone, like, oh, Coop, you missed it. Mia just shut shit down. I'm like, damn.
But see, that's why people love when we do our station heads too, because they want to hear us playing shit. You know what I mean? I think doing both, like you said, letting people sell people and having the music there, yeah. Hold on. James Smith with the Super Chat says, Mike was definitely doing the snap dance to Laffy Taffy back in the day. I definitely was not. Y'all have no idea how much I hated that movement that was going on. I was really on my music snob shit then. I've gotten way better.
Mike, I knew one of the girls in the video, and I was like, what the hell? She's like, I went to school with them, Coop. They asked me to do it. I was like, okay, cool.
I was on my music snob shit, man. I was like, I hated that whole snap movement. I was happy that somebody like T.I. kind of changed the climate a little bit. I was hoping for the days of Outkast and Goody Mob coming back, and that wasn't happening. Gary Pierce with the Super Chat says, these new stars lack the it factor. They don't seem larger than life. Charisma is missing. I can agree with that too. You know, when we did start seeing that in the 2010s, where we saw artists that were coming up to radio stations and they didn't have much personality. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's what we start seeing when people start blowing up off the internet, where it was like the songs were bigger than the actual artists were, and the artists really weren't ready to take on how big the songs were in that moment. But no, I think we got a game plan for sure, man. We definitely, it's wide open for us to find the next stars in this culture.
Like, see, this is what I mean. People like joking, like, oh, Mike, you knew you was doing the Soulja Boy dance. I don't know about Mike, but I know my ass was at every club that I was in when they came on. Me, Holla, all of us that rap, that was out in the streets. It's like, oh no, when the Soulja Boy came on down here.
Yeah, people can have fun.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Y'all like got it twisted, like a little bit. It's like, no, it's okay. Like Big Daddy Kane dances, Mike.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. Some of y'all acting way too tough.
Offset needs to embrace the dancing. I'm saying it's gonna be big for Offset.
Get a little two-step in your life. Get some class, nigga.
We didn't really touch upon this whole Nas I Am thing last episode. I think we kind of had the last 5 minutes for it. We could talk about that a little bit more if you want to. I wanted to read the article so we can get that information on that straight. See, I Am autobiography double album is officially being released. Let's see what we got here. It's on accordingtohiphop.com, actually. Shameless plug, never shameless. All right, so the Long Lost Nas album, which originally was a double disc version of the Queensbridge Icons 1999 LP, will be released commercially for the first time on vinyl on November 24th as a part of a record. Sorry for the pop-ups, guys. As part of a Record Store Days 2023's Black Friday event. The vinyl will include 2 unreleased tracks as well as many other rarities that have been limited on vinyl. 12-inch precisely, according to the product description. So, this is what it says. It's only going to be 4,100 copies being made. Is that accurate? Because that was the one thing that I was kind of like, is it going to be 4,100 or 41,000? Because everything I saw was 4,100. I always thought that was a weird number.
Isn't that when it came out? Didn't it come out like April 1st? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so that's what it is. All right.
Reserves.
Okay, there it is. Brandon Charles with the Super Chat says, I saw this artist in Atlanta named Charlie from the county. He has an album called Character Development. It is in my top 5 albums this year. Y'all need to check him out. and put my reputation on him. He said, I put my reputation on him. Okay, I'm writing this down right now. Charlie, and you said character development. I love it. Let's make change happen right here, live on air, right? I think we got another super chat. LP with the super chat says, the platforms ain't big either. There are no rap cities, Hot 97, The Source, or anything like that to help make them seem larger than life. Both are needed. I agree with that, and I think that there's a great thing in people being independent and being able to have their choice of what platforms they support and things being on demand. But there was a thing about how MTV, BET, and some of these platforms were able to make certain individuals feel larger than life and make certain albums feel bigger, the biggest thing going. And I do think we have missed some of that. But I do think that there are some artists who still have that ability to do that, and they haven't been delivering, i.e., what Drake just put out. Because everybody stopped and was ready to listen, and it wasn't anything game shifting, according to the people.
Yeah, need to be some Carpe Diem going on up in here, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, are there other avenues to hear the unreleased I Am music? If not, then it feels like it's a missed opportunity to release the whole thing in an accessible format. We shamed Black Star for that last year. Now, that's where I was going to go, Coop.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Pause. First of all,
okay,
something that was originally heavily bootlegged when the MP3 era was getting started. Heavier bootleg the album as you'll find. Mike, this album is almost 25 years old.
Be 25 next year.
The Black Star album, well, like 8 months old, Mike. It's not the same thing. Black Star was trying to reintroduce and reintegrate themselves into the marketplace as a group because they had not made a project together in literally a quarter century damn near. Correct?
Correct.
That's not the same thing as an album that got made a quarter century ago that got bootlegged the hell out of, that the artist is probably releasing the vinyl for a holiday push because you see the way, good business people do business. They figure it's the holiday. Let's give his core fan base something to spend their money on. And what's probably going to follow that is going to be a 25-year anniversary edition of the album that will probably come out in April. So it's a little soon to say that he's pulling a Black Star move, but it could never be a Black Star move because unlike Black Star, this nigga's been rapping his ass off for the last 25 years for the most part.
And and to your point, the reason for the lack of access to this music is because people cheated the process and bootlegged and got the access to the music. Yeah. If people would have chilled, we would have had regular access to this music.
Right. In the case of Black Star, they just cheated the people.
Now, I'm going to sit here and defend Black Star to some extent, right?
I don't know why you would do that.
I'm going to do this because I want to stay consistent here, and I've been talking about the business model of the music industry and the hand-to-hand purchasing, right? I think that Black Star was attempting to find a way to monetize on music in this climate. I don't agree with how they went about it because I think subscription's a little different because, again, now you're paying month to month for one album, and essentially that doesn't really make sense for the consumer. But I understand on their end, they wanted to find a way to be able to sell. They wanted to create that moment. Like, you remember how back in the day, if you didn't have the album or if you didn't go buy the album, you didn't have access to the album. And I think that's what they tried to create.
Oh, is that what they tried to do?
I mean, I'm trying to give them benefit of the doubt.
They're not big enough to do that. They have an inflated self of ego that make them think that they were the ones that were going to pull that move in this hip-hop landscape.
Right.
How?
Well, how does someone, I mean, are we giving free game here, but in your estimation, because I don't know, how does someone in this climate, let's just say J. Cole, let's just say Drake, let's say Drake, he's the biggest artist out. how does Drake create that moment of buying an album again and giving and not giving into the streaming platforms? And I'm using Talib's terminology here.
For Drake, it's as simple as making a great album because he's Drake.
So if Drake made a great album and said, you know what, only people who are on my Drake streaming platform have access to this, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to charge you one time and you got unlimited access to this music.
It would go ape shit.
Ye tried that with the player. Remember the stem player?
No. We don't remember that because he didn't market that properly.
Yeah.
Next.
James Smith with the super chat says, Coop, I knew you were dancing back in the day from your Bobby Brown comment. That's why the snap question was directed at Mike.
Copy that. Mike, I can remember walking into a party on Franklin Road, and like as soon as I walked in, the Soulja Boy came on. I just hopped my ass right in line, Mike.
You remember we went out, I think we were reconnecting with the Dave & Buster's staff one time, and that Crank That Lion King was out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fun times. CJ Kid with the super chat says, there's another version of the I Am, the double disc track list that was floating around for years, and that I wanted to send you guys and see if you've seen it. I'm going to go check the email real quick because I think that CJ Kid did send that. Esquire with the super chat says, I believe that the release is through Sony. Massive Hill will probably do their own release on April 24th. So it looks like Sony is just trying to capitalize. It's kind of like what Motown did between Thriller and Bad when they was putting out like a Michael Jackson greatest hits or something.
That's what businesses do. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is strategically placed as a business move.
So with that being said, do you think that the music that's going to be on this vinyl series is going to be accurate though? I think that's the thing. I'm looking at this from an accuracy standpoint because we've had many different track lists floating around.
You'll know by certain records like Hardest Thing to Do Is Stay Alive and Wanna Play Rough. If like those records are on there, then yeah, that's the joint that they're aiming for. Because like I said, a lot of this stuff you've already heard because it made the Lost Tapes. Like Project Window was track 5 on the copy that I had, like the original Project Window. That made Nostradamus. My Way, You Gotta Love It.
Mm-hmm.
Blaze of 50, Drunk by Myself, Papa Was a Player, and Fetus were all on that I Am. So that's 7 songs that made that I can just pull offhand. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and Blaze of 50. Did I say Blaze of 50?
Yeah, you said Blaze of 50.
Yeah, so the new stuff on the Lost Tapes was like No Ideas Original, Purple, Black Zombie, Do Rags. Those other records were I Am records. Like, how about this? Like, let me see if I can pull up.
Well, I want you to speak to like I guess the whole story behind this, because I know we haven't covered this in recent times, but you said that if this I Am disc would have came out in its natural state, it changes things. And how do you think that changes things in your estimation, based on what you heard?
Because the GOAT talk becomes him. Because it's better than Rakim's first 3 albums. Better than KRS's first 3 albums.
Mm.
It's better than everybody's run if he releases the original version of that album. Because here's the thing. By the time Nas's Like was coming out is when we really started to listen to It Was Written and be like, oh, shit. He's a better rapper than everybody. Like, the pen game better. Because it took people a while to really... Like, It Was Written is so intricately written, Mike. Like, other dudes wasn't being that descriptive or that detailed like that. They weren't.
No, that's real.
And it was hard for people. Like, it was a hard swallow for people because they're like, you know, pretty much it's like, why don't this make me feel like Represent or Memory Lane? It's like, no. This is the writer stepping to the plate. Like, this is him proving he's the best writer. You know what I mean? The best lyricist. Like, that's why it was all written in cursive when you got it. Like, that was the point. And so he had made the best album. He had made himself the best lyricist. I Am is the middle ground between It Was Written and Illmatic. It's almost like the original version of I Am, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
You argue could be album number 2, and It Was Written be album number 3, because it has more of the Illmatic feel in terms of making you feel something and connecting to it. But it has some of the lyrical ability and storytelling of It Was Written, like Blaze of 50 was on the original one. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
So-
we just got the track list that CJ Kidd was talking about. I got the email here. I'm going to go through it, and you kind of tell me, you know what I'm saying, what, from your estimation, how accurate this is. Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, Black Star made us feel like we were supporting them by buying a yearly Luminary subscription, and then right after we renewed, they deleted their album. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, sent it. You can go down the list for the people. About to do that right now, CJ. So this is the track list that CJ the Kid sent us. He says, Fetus. It's number 1. New York State of Mind, 2. Life is What You Make It, 3. Small World, 4.
No, Life Is What You Make It wasn't on there.
Okay. Hardest thing to do is stay alive is number 5.
That's up there. I remember it being on the first half, yes.
Okay, Papa Was a Player is number 6 on disc 1.
That's right.
Okay. Nas Is Like is number 7 on disc 1.
Okay, that's what I was telling you. The copy that I had didn't even have Nas Is Like on it yet. It had him talking over the Nas Is Like beat to stop stealing shit.
Okay. Blaze of 50s, number 8.
Nas Is Like beat saying stop stealing my shit while Nas Is Like was out.
Blaze of 50, number 8. Favor for a Favor, number 9.
Favor for a Favor wasn't on there. Favor for a Favor is one of the tracks that got recorded because of the bootlegging.
Okay.
Specifically, Mike, Hate Me Now, Favor for a Favor, and Life Is What You Make It for DMX were brought on to give the album star power because of the bootlegging that took place.
We Will Survive, number 10.
No, it wasn't on there.
Some of Us Have Angels, number 11.
No.
Project Window, number 12.
Yep.
Daydreaming, Stay Scheming, number 13.
That was on there. That's where he... Yep.
Number 14, Sometimes I Wonder.
No.
Undying Love, number 15.
No.
And that's disc 1.
No.
Disc 2, we got Afterlife. Amongst Kings, sorry. Life We Chose.
No.
Drunk by Myself.
Yes.
Pray.
No.
God Loves Us.
No.
Ghetto Prisoners.
No.
Last Words.
No.
Family.
No.
Come Get Me.
No.
Find Your Wealth.
Yes.
You Gotta Love It.
Yes.
Wanna Play Rough.
Yes.
The Rise and Fall.
Not on my version, but I knew that people had that on some other versions.
My Worst Enemy.
No, not on my version. So I'll tell you what, my version had Fetus.
Okay.
You Gotta Love It. Hardest Thing to Do is Stay Alive. Project Window. Papa Was a Player. Blink 50. Drunk by Myself. Wanna Play Rough. Daydreaming, Stay Scheming. Yeah.
You have to wonder, though, because we always talk about Nostradamus and that being a down period, right? Nostradamus doesn't exist if this happens in the way that it happened.
No, because he gets to make a legit double album.
Uh-huh.
Like, how about this? He broke the album up into 2 pieces, and he didn't listen. He had album stuff. He added all the happy shit, Mike. He added Hate Me Now on I Am. He added Nostradamus on Nostradamus. Like, records like that, those records weren't getting made if I Am came out, like, in its original form. That's what I mean.
If I Am comes out in its original form, because you said Hate Me Now is not on there, and you said Nas Is Like's not on there yet either, what's the single? What's going to be the driving, force of this double album?
Mike, there is a Vibe magazine preview article that talks about how the first single from I Am the Autobiography is Project Window featuring Ronald Isley. Project Window was the original first single off I Am.
Really?
Yep. Go look it up.
You
It's
think
in
that
Vibe
works? No, I've never heard that. That's new information to me. Maybe the people in the chat have heard that. Yeah.
Archives.
No, you dropping game. Do you think that works?
It's Nas. Of course it
In
works.
1999?
It's literally his steez, Mike. It's Project Window. Is it Nas's like? No, but is it about the work? It's like, think about this. Ronald Isley had really like researched around that time. Like Ronald Isley was a thing again around then. So think about this. It's like, no, you got Nas off of a triple platinum selling album with Ronald Isley doing the hook on the first single to his third album. Yeah, it was about to go, Mike.
At this time period, though, like it's about bangers. You know what I mean? And in '99, Jay is in full swing, and Jay is dropping all kind of bangers. You think that if they would have came with something mellow like that, then the song and the album would have got the necessary attention?
I mean, this is what I mean. He was at his peak. It was gonna go triple regardless, probably. He was peaking.
I don't know, man. I think you need a strong. I think "Hate Me Now" is a strong single. I remember when Greg Street dropped "Hate Me Now" for the first time, and it's one of those songs that kind of gets you ready for the album. At least in that time period, because we talking about a time where this is the same year where Mobb Deep had, Quiet Storm.
I feel you, but also too, Mike, and I've always felt this way. It's very clear to me that it's probably the label that bootlegged it, because this is what I mean.
Conspiracy theory. I like it.
No. Quality of the records is so high, and this is what I mean. It's more Illmatic-like in the sense it's like, well, none of the singles would really be big. Fetus isn't big. Papa Was a Player, Drunk by Myself, Blaze of 50, You Gotta Love It, Project Window. These records aren't big. They're just great. And so it was a great collection of records, but the record label was probably like, well, we got to put out the shit with Ronald Isley because it's the only shit that we put. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like, man, where LaFace probably was at with ATLians for Outkast. Like, they had to remix the Jazzy Belle so that they could have a third single.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I always felt like the label was the one that bootlegged it too. Like, here, get all these great album tracks out the way. We need some hits from Nas. He's a hit maker now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's doing he's done If I Rule the World. He's done the Street Dreams remix. He's done Love Is All We Need with Mary J. Blige. He's done that whack ass Allure record. Whack. He's done.
You don't like the happy stuff.
The shit was too happy. He's done
the Mariah and Joe song.
I don't know if the Mariah and Joe song's not yet. I feel like that's a year or two later.
Yeah, I felt like it was around that period, but yeah.
Later that year.
Yeah, it might be later that year.
That's later that year because that's more when Nostradamus is out. What else did he have?
You're right, because he even said Nostradamus in the bars. You're right.
Yeah, that was after. That was around Nostradamus. But he was a player at that point. Oh, the Do You Ever Think with that nasty bastard R. Kelly, the remix, because they were on tour together, Mike, around that time.
No, true.
Yeah, R. Kelly and Nas went on tour together. And he was on the Did You Ever Think remix, wearing like the fucking Hate Me Now outfit.
I remember that.
Yeah.
CJ Kid with a super chat says, also the original Project Window, I think, had the same beat, but with the pianos playing on the instrumental.
Correct.
It's on YouTube. Better than the album version.
Correct. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I've always told people this. It's like, oh no, that original version of Project Window, Mike, it's very do-rags-like.
Yeah.
It's very Memory Lane-like. That works when it's Nas. That doesn't work for everybody else. When he does a record like that, you gravitate towards it. Mike, it's very comparable to a Reminisce off KD3. It's like one of those types of vibes. It's like, no, when he's in that pocket, he can do that. It's 9-2. It's 9-2.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, Coop was he said was a song called The Cure on the version of I Am. I heard some people say that it was on some versions.
It's ridiculous. We're getting beat like this.
Was The Cure on there, Coop?
No.
Okay, there was no song called The Cure. How many songs do you remember being on this double disc?
See, that's okay. So, I Am the autobiography, the way it was explained to me from Vibe and from what I got, It was only about 16 tracks, Mike.
Okay,
It
so
wasn't.
it wasn't one of those 20-track things.
No, see, that's what I mean. I got an early copy. Like, how about this? By the time I Am came out, and I was mad because I was like, what the fuck is this? Because I thought I was getting like a better copy. I'd already like played that copy. Like, it had scratches on it. I had played it so much. I remember it starting off with Fetus. And then I think it might have went into Find Your Wealth. Is that another home run? It's 10-2.
Jesus.
I'm not joking. It's 10-2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not The Cure, The Curse. Is there a song called The Curse?
No, this is looking like a curse if we lose to the Phillies for the second straight year after having the best team in baseball again.
Yeah, it's not a good look. But yeah.
We better games.
But Coop, is there a song called The Curse on there?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
I'll tell you first, I remember Fetus, Find Your Wealth, My Way, Hardest Thing to Do is Stay Alive. You Gotta Love It, Project Windows, Papa Was a Player, Drunk by Myself, Blaze of 50, Wanna Play Rough, Amongst Kings.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says The Cure was on a sampler.
Amongst Kings. What else? What else am I missing on there?
Mike
Small
H.
World was on there.
Small World, okay. Mike H with the super chat says, when I got the Lost Tapes and Nostradamus, I remember saying they messed up Project Windows and Belly Button Window.
Oh yeah, Mike, and Project Window. So that would be 13 records that I just named offhand. So I know for a fact those 13 records were on there.
But see, a lot of people would say, well, basically this is the Lost Tapes, right? And Nostradamus mixed.
Well, what I was trying to tell you is that, first of all, I've never heard a beat switch take the quality level of a song down the way what happened with Project Window. The original Project Window was produced by Nasheem Myrick from Bad Boys Hitman.
Mm-hmm.
That's also who did Who Shot Ya and T.O.N.Y. for Capone Noriega. He's one of my personal favorite producers. But Mike, when Trackmasters remixed that beat, that song went from like a 10 to like a 7. I'm not lying. Production matters.
What are your thoughts on, and I want to, and we haven't had this conversation before. What are your thoughts on Trackmasters and Nas as collaborators? Because I always feel like when they talk about Nas being a bad beat picker and yada yada, I always feel like that's aimed at Trackmasters. Because nobody had any concerns about his beats until that pairing came together. What are your thoughts on Trackmasters and Nas?
It wasn't Preem. It wasn't Pete Rock. It wasn't Large Pro. Okay, so Mike, My Way, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, Mike, 6 of the 12 songs from the Lost Tapes are on I Am, so half of them.
So there would be no Lost Tapes without I Am either. So we kind of got to take that with a grain of salt.
Mike, the Lost Tapes literally exist about this album getting bootlegged. There are no Lost Tapes. They're not supposed to be Lost Tapes. And on Nostradamus, Project Windows is the only one that made it from the original version.
Do you think that makes everything all good, though? I mean, are you good with the fact that this double disc doesn't exist in the time it existed because we got the Lost Tapes?
As much as I love the Lost Tapes, Mike, the Lost Tapes weren't better than this.
So you would off the Lost Tapes just to have this album come out in the way that it supposedly came out. Was supposed to come out.
Lost Tapes and Nostradamus.
Well, Nostradamus kind of goes away with it anyway. It cancels that one out too.
Correct. So you're telling me it would go, listen to what I'm saying. Illmatic, it was written, the original version of I Am, and then Stillmatic? Yeah, Mike, GOAT.
From a momentum standpoint, I don't know if Stillmatic happens that way if he drops this in that way.
GOAT.
I want to say this, though, because you didn't really give me an answer. I think that we're too hard on the Trackmasters and Nas pairing because, like you said, it's not Preem. It's not, Pete Rock. It's kind of them bringing Nas into a different chamber. And I think when you look back at it, it worked. I mean, shit, they even made songs like Shootouts.
I was about to say, when it works, Mike. When it didn't. For example.
Who made Silent Murder?
Oh, Stretch.
Okay, Stretch.
Stretch
That's right.
Silent Murder.
Yeah.
So the problem with Trackmasters on It Was Written is, Mike, that arguably, like, well, the best beats didn't come from Trackmasters and they handled the bulk of the album because the best beats on there are Taken in Blood, Silent Murder, The Setup, and Live Nigga Rap. That's Stretch and Havoc, Mike.
Mm.
The Stretch and Half.
Melvin Wright with a super chat says, nah, that bad beat picking started around Nostradamus and carried on after.
Preem did I Gave You Power, so he did the most lyrical joint on the most lyrical album of all time. So it looks like Trackmasters aren't great producers in that, right? Because that's what I mean. When they hit the message, shootouts. But when they miss, Mike, watch them niggas. Black Girl Lost.
They did make If I Ruled the World. I don't think anybody, and I'm not a huge If I Ruled the World fan, but I don't think any of the other producers that were listed on that album could have made him that song.
We're apparently hitting 6 home runs in the postseason is a Major League Baseball record.
Damn. Well, things got to change. Andrew Williams with the super chat says, Mike, I think Stillmatic still happens because Jay dissed him either way. Do you agree with me on that, or are you with the mindset that Stillmatic would happen anyway? Because I don't think if he comes off this double diss, I don't think that he makes Stillmatic in that way.
Here's the thing, if I Am comes out like I Am, we have now a back and forth, whereas this is where they start handing it to Jay. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So Jay get handed this title like this. If I Am, the original version, comes out, because the talk is going to be, essentially what I always say, it's like, man, but Jay made all the bangers. It's like, yeah, but Nas made the tracks and made the album. So now we have ourselves a fight. But the fact that I Am was uneven, and then Nostradamus was even more uneven, that's what lended itself into Jay's favor, specifically Nostradamus. So it's like, well, Jay's come up, doesn't come up like this either.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hard Knock Life happens either way.
Hard Knock Life had already happened, Mike.
Right. So this is more of a volume 3 conversation.
This is more of a back and forth. It's like, okay, It Was Written did 3 million. Volume 2's on its way to doing 5. Nas's response to that is to do the opposite. See what I'm saying? Like, Jay had taken the streets with, that's why I Am sounds the way that it does. Jay and X had taken the game with the bangers and with the street stuff. Nas went into poetry, like writing, storyteller mode. He went for what he did best. And it worked. It's just it got bootlegged.
DFW Herbie with the super chat says, Stress by Organized Confusion is more lyrical. I think he's talking about the song about the gun. The bullet, rather. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, Coop sent you the curse to see if you know it.
What's the hook to Stress again? See how people talking that stuff? Exactly, Mike. This is what I'm talking about. It's not more lyric. How You Like Me Now? I go blow. It's the shit that moves crowds, making every ghetto foul. I might have took your first child, scarred your face, crippled your style. I gave you power. I made you buck wild. You have to connect. I'm explaining this shit. Stop talking about these super lyrical songs that didn't connect. I love Organized Confusion. Stress doesn't connect like I Gave You Power. The beat's not better. The lyrics not better. The hook's not better. Stop that.
I think we need to have a poll on that.
They can poll and cap for these on today, Mike.
LP with the super chat says, it's times people thought Nas was done. He doesn't attack Nas from a perspective if this leaks doesn't happen. So he attacked Nas like that because he was washed. So he thinks that Jay kind of just went all in on Nas because it was a weak time in his career. He said if Nas was riding high, he don't think Jay would have came at him in the same veracity.
Well, Jay's ahead. You think Jay ain't have a copy of this shit? This is one of his favorite rappers too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Jay is watching. He's
listening to the competition.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's not getting released? They bootlegging it? Great. Let's go.
Timing's right. Mike H with the super chat says, does Jay feel comfortable calling Nas out if the autobiography drops?
Right. I'm saying all these don't happen.
I don't know, guys. I think that's going to happen anyway, but maybe not in the same way.
This is what I mean.
Because you can't really say that his albums was mid, because that was one of the big standouts on the takeover, because he was able to say this fresh off of Nostradamus. So even if he was, being, hyperbolic about it was written, your first memory is Nostradamus because that just came out. And then I Am, which has some holes in it.
See, how about this? This is what I mean. It's still a fight. Well, Volume 1 had some holes too, Mike. We've talked about the holes in Volume 1.
Big holes.
Right. And so that's what I mean. Well, this becomes a back and forth. And this is what I mean about how Jay also, like, and this is just rap, Mike. It ain't fair, but it ain't right. And Nas referenced this on Last Real Nigga Alive. It's like, well, the music's not there. We have the whole you know who, did you know what with new you know who situation leering in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Nas's mom getting sick around this time.
Yeah.
Right. So all of these things are happening. It's like his album's getting bootlegged. This dude done hit his BM and his mom got sick. And Jay prayed on that. And then he took a L for praying on that shit. That's what's beautiful about it. He tried that man at his weakest and he still lost. That's why I always put him ahead. He tried that man at his weakest while he was at his strongest, and he still got that ass beat. That's why I don't ever want to hit that shit.
That's very triumphant, and it's
think about it.
Yeah.
You're maybe the most bootleg album of his generation. This dude slept with your baby mother after you broke up with her. Your mother is dying, and he comes for you, and you take him out. You can't write that shit, Mike.
People thought Nas was done.
I know. I was hearing it daily. You know your boy done, right?
I'm sure that gave you great gratification when that wasn't the case.
Oh, Mike. Every single person that told me to, I have spent the next 2 decades reminding them that dumb shit they said to me back then.
Andrew Williams with the super chat says,
Coming up on people, Mike, I'd be like, remember when you told me Nas was done, nigga? You don't know shit about rap. Next.
Andrew Williams with the super chat. Thumbs up in the chat, y'all. We can get people in here. He says, Jay may not have dissed Nas on the U-Wash perspective, but he still would have dissed for the crown either way. Jay was coming for the crown. But this was just, the timing was perfect here for Jay. CJ Kid with the super chat says, didn't Nas put out QB's Finest as his response to the Dynasty? QB's Finest was better than Nostradamus. Jay didn't mention that album, only that song. Was QB's Finest before the Dynasty? Yeah, it was, right?
Same year.
Oh, I feel like the Dynasty came out after QB's Finest.
I feel like QB's Finest came out at the end of that year.
The Dynasty is October 31st, 2000. I know that. It came out on Halloween. That I know. I don't know what date QB's Finest came out, but I feel like that was before the Dynasty. I mean, because there's not like a lot of room left in the year to come out at that point anyway.
November 21st, 2000.
Okay, so it was after.
Yeah, I told you, same time.
CJ Kid is on his shit too. Okay. I mean, I don't know if it was a response. I think they both knew that, these things were coming out. The way things happened back then was albums were set in play months ahead.
So, and that's where Find Your Wealth landed. So understand it's like 6 tracks from I Am ended up on the Lost Tapes. One ended up on Nostradamus. Another one ended up on QB's Finest. The rest of them just were suppressed.
Wow. And I guess that's what we're about to hear now. I don't know. I guess my only thing is we're going to have to see the accuracy. And but either way, this is a great cherry on top for this incredible 6-album run. What would you like to see in the 25th anniversary? Like the official.
I would like to hear him talk about it and give us the original track listing as he intended.
Well, they say Nipsey Hussle was going to do a documentary on it. So I think a documentary would be great. Yeah, Straight Bullets, the record. I think a documentary about this album and everything leading up to it would be apropos. I think that with the work that the people at Mass Appeal do when it comes to documentaries and documenting, timepieces, I think that's what this effort needs. And I think for everybody to really understand the full scope of history, it may be necessary. Just like I think LL Cool J needs a biopic. I think people need to have this information and be set in that time period to understand everything that you're talking about, how things are different if this album drops in its original state in this time.
The album in its original state, Mike, I've never heard an album that good in any genre of music be bootleg. There's a reason it was bootleg so heavily. It was fucking fire.
Never heard an album. No. Okay.
They got bootleg, no.
1999 was another wide open year too. I think that the crown jewel is going to be Chronic 2001 or 2001 or whatever from Dre. But from a rapper standpoint, I think 99 was wide open as well.
No, this would have been album of the year in 1999.
I don't think over 2001, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a more consistent effort from end to end, Mike. Even when you ran down 2001 against the Chronic, it's like you start seeing, it's like, oh no, Mike, that album is front loaded and top heavy.
Oh, it is top heavy. And the top heavy that it is very loaded.
It is, but
Still
it's not
DRE.
better.
Forgot about Dre, The Watcher, Explosive, Next Episode. No, man, these are heavy.
I'm telling you with confidence that original version of I Am is better than 2001 end to end. Think about that.
Oh, man, I want to see what the people say about that. LP with the super chat says, HMN video with Puff, Hate Me Now video with Puff on the cross for Pac. LOL. There y'all go with that. King Jeffrey with the super chat says, when the I Am double album is coming out, and knows that Nas is number one and Ether's still crushing him, even he don't say it.
I got to roll, Mike.
Okay, no, that's cool. I was gonna ask the people if they had seen any. Oh yeah, what's the differences in there too? Well, hit that like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to know when we're live or whatnot. But yeah, I wanted to see what the people's experience was with the I Am, because I'm sure you're not the only person that had your hands on this double disc.
No, somebody gave it to me and burned it for me. So of course,
yeah.
Or gifted us how Murder Music was bootleg. Mike, I had the bootleg to that too. It wasn't bootleg like I Am was, and I'll tell you exactly why. The only track from that version of Murder Music that didn't make it was "Feel My Gap Blow."
Mm-hmm.
Rearranged the song sequence. Like "Streets Raise Me" was like the track after "It's Mine" on the original bootleg, and they made it the intro, and because the original intro was USAI then. That was the original intro. But even some of the sequence in the Murder Music from the original version to the bootleg is like almost identical. So that's not true. It wasn't as heavily bootleg. "Feel My Gap Blow" is the only thing they even took off.
People are saying
from that time, from the night. One of Havoc's best beats.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we'll get up out of here, man. I'm looking forward to the new music that we're going to hear Friday. Like I said, bold prediction on the Offset. I think it's going to be fire. And, of course, West Side Guns coming Friday, and I can't wait for us to talk about that. Appreciate everybody checking in. What's up?
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, 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 boom. We're going to holler at y'all, and we will talk to y'all next time.